maybe you've tried doing a lunge before and it went something a little bit like this. Well, if so, it's likely that you're making at least one of the 3 big lunge mistakes that I'll show you in this video. So keep watching, and I'll make sure you know how to do a lunge with perfect form so you can strengthen your legs and work those buns out the right way. Hey there, Coach Tyler here with WeShape, and today is all about lunges. We'll look at how to do lunges with perfect form and how to start, especially if you're a complete beginner. And the reason why is because lunges are one of the best lower body exercises in the world, and yet most people do them with terrible form. Or maybe you've never even done a lunge before in the first place. Either way, there are 3 big lunge mistakes that most people make that you'll want to avoid. Because when you make any one of these mistakes, you can hurt your knee joint, you can flare up your lower back, and even cause muscle imbalances that can make the rest of your body feel achy. So, what are those 3 big lunge mistakes? How do you do lunges with perfect form, even if you're a complete beginner? And what are the best lunge variations that you can use to continuously make progress? Well, let's start by sharing the 3 big lunge mistakes with you. And then I'll follow up with the 7 steps to doing a lunge with perfect form and share the 3 best levels of the lunge for you to work on. Now, there are harder versions of the lunge that you can do, all the way up to the jump lunge. But we think that it's really important for you to focus on doing movements that are appropriate for your body, really nailing down the form and making sure you're consistent on doing the right movements so that you actually see results. So, if you like this approach to getting fit, to transforming your body in a way that actually feels good, stick around to the end of the video and check out what we have to offer over at WeShape. One of the most common mistakes people make when doing the lunge is putting their weight on their front toes, okay? So when you're coming out into the lunge like this, instead of keeping the weight evenly placed across the foot, they come up on their front toes and they lift their heel off the ground. Okay, so when you do this, what it's gonna do is gonna put more pressure across the top of your knee and inside your knee joint, and that could cause some serious knee pain if you don't have really strong legs. So to fix that, when you step out into your lunge, either forward or backwards, your front leg, you need to think about keeping your foot flat on the ground, keeping these 3 points underneath your toe, your pinky, and your heel in contact with the ground, and then try to create that little bit of an arch by squeezing the ground with your toes. You see how I can squeeze the ground with my toes and make a little tiny arch like that? That's what you want to do with your front foot. When you do that, it's going to keep everything else stable and it's going to keep your body a lot safer. If you ever have achy knees, then you really have to be careful about making this lunge mistake, and that is making sure that your knee is stable. So what that looks like is this. If you step out into the lunge and you're facing straight forward like this, oftentimes what you'll see when somebody stands up from the lunge is that their knee caves in like this. This is called a valgus collapse. It's a little bit of an internal rotation of your femur, and what that does is it puts a lot of pressure on the inside and the outside of your knee joint. And so, in order to make sure you're protecting your knees and using all the right muscles, whenever you do a lunge, if you look down at your thigh bone right here, it should be going the same direction as your middle toes, all right? So whenever you do that lunge, look down at that thigh bone, make sure your knees go in the same direction as your toes, and that's gonna help stabilize your knee and give you better results with less chance for getting injured. If you want to get stronger at doing lunges and get a nice toned butt at the same time, then one of the biggest mistakes I see people doing is not using their glutes during the lunge. So what they do is they step into a lunge and they use their quads and their quads by going down like this, keeping their torso really upright on every single repetition. Now there's nothing wrong with keeping your back flat as you go up and down. I want your torso to stay in one straight line. But what I think can really help people put more pressure on the glute muscles, the butt muscles, is to hinge forward through the hips a little bit, sink through the hips until you feel that deep stretch in that glute of the front leg. Now from there, press into the heel of the front leg and think about almost like you're trying to take a step forward to extend your hips. When you do this, you're gonna feel it work a lot less through the quad and the knee and a lot more through the hip and the glute. These are the stronger, bigger muscles, so let's learn how to use them. All right, now I wanna quickly share with you the 7 steps that you can use to do any lunge with perfect form. Just follow along and think of these 7 steps anytime you do the lunge, and your body will feel amazing and will thank you because of it. Place that front foot flat on the ground and make sure you keep your heel, the ball of your foot underneath your toe and underneath your pinky toe in contact with the ground the whole time, and try to squeeze the ground with your toes to create a little tiny arch. Make sure that your front knee is going the same direction as your toes. Don't let it cave in and don't let it go out too far. Make sure that your hips are facing straight forward and that you're not leaning too much from side to side. Should be right in the center, facing straight forward the entire time. Brace your core, squeeze it tight, almost like somebody's gonna come by and tap you on the stomach real hard. Keep your core tight the entire time you do this movement. As you start to stand up, press into your front heel and really try to activate your glute. Lean forward from the hips if you can't feel it, and try to think about the glute extending your hips, not your knee. Just the same as your front knee, make sure that your back knee is going straight down over your toes the entire time. Don't let it shift in too far, and don't let it open wide like this. Straight up and down as you come up and down through the lunge movement. Don't be lazy and forget about your back foot and start standing up from lunges like this and hurt your ankle. Always tuck your toes, make sure your toes are pointing straight into the ground, squeeze your glutes and core, make sure everything's good before you stand up from every single lunge. Okay, now that you know the 3 big mistakes that people make when doing the lunge and the 7 steps to do every lunge with perfect form, I wanted to show you 3 easy beginner variations of the lunge that anybody should be able to do to get started doing lunges today. Okay, the first variation is called the supported reverse half lunge. Now, this is what it looks like. For the supported reverse half lunge, you're gonna use your hands as support on a stable surface as you step backwards, go about halfway down, and then again, press into that front foot and extend your hips to stand back up to the top position. Make sure you alternate sides, you go slow and controlled, and you keep thinking about those 7 steps to do every lunge with perfect form. Now, if those are too easy, then you can try the reverse half lunge. That looks like this. The reverse half lunge is simply taking a step backwards into a lunge position, coming about halfway down, and then coming back to the start position. Again, make sure you're thinking about those 7 steps for perfect form as you go through every single rep. And finally, if the reverse half lunge is still too easy for you, you can do full reverse lunges. Here's what those look like. This is exactly like the reverse half lunges, only you're going to come all the way down until your back knee just kisses the ground. Just make sure on any variation you choose to move slow and controlled and focus on form first and intensity second. When you do, your body will thank you. Okay, awesome job trying out the lunges and all those variations. I hope you found at least one that works for your body. And the big thing you want to remember from this video is to not make those 3 big lunge mistakes, and that whenever you do the lunge, you think of those 7 steps to make sure you're doing every rep with good form. And this is so important because I always say form first, intensity second. And I really mean it, because when you follow this rule, you'll get better results in the long run, your body will feel better, and you'll reduce your chances of causing unnecessary aches and pains or getting injured. So, if you like this strategy of getting fit while feeling great, go ahead and click the link or go to WeShape.com, where you can get a workout that's absolutely customized to you, where we pick every single movement based on your goals, your strength, your flexibility, your balance, and your coordination. Otherwise, make sure to check out this next video, where we're gonna teach you how to squat with perfect form. Just click the link right there, and I'll see you there in a sec.